A very good evening to everyone and welcome back to the day 4 of Pragati 2021, powered by Trippy Miles
and co-powered by AgriPay Payment Solutions Private Limited.
This is me Vaibhavi with my co-host Runmai, welcoming you with full of excitement and enthusiasm. Tighten up your seat belts to soar in the sky of innovation, invention, and creativity presented to you by ESEL SFIT Mumbai. And a very big thanks to you, the Janta Janardhan, for being a part of this episode of Pragati.
Pragati 2021 is powered by Trippy Miles and co-powered by AgriPay Payment Solutions Private Limited. Our prize partners are CSB Bank and South Indian Bank. Our learning partner, Imperial Overseas Educational Consultants. Our consulting partner, Computrain Study Abroad, Mumbai. Our chief education partner, Infigon Futures. Our fabric partner, Fabric Spa. First and foremost, a big thanks for all the trust, which actually made you our very sponsor.
Our industrial training and live project partner, Immovidu Technologies. Our education partner, LMT, that is Last Minute Tuitions. Our outreach partner, ProjectContest.com. Our youth media partner, Youth Inc. Our legal partner, Lawyered. And our gifting partner, Belgian Waffles. It is said that patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. And now that we have made it extra sweet for you guys, let's dive into the sea of innovative ideas and fetch some pearls. Let's see some projects.
Soar in the sky and dive in the sea at the same time. Chalo, ye bhi theek hai. Well, let's just get started. So now we have Shah Buddy from Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, Pune. This is a simple device that effectively helps people track their water consumption. It keeps track of your daily water and light consumption.
Hello everyone, my name is Om. For this hackathon, my teammates and I decided to work on the problem of wasteful water consumption. On average, a person spends almost 8 minutes in the shower. This can be shortened down. A lot of times, the lights are left on and hot showers use a lot of heat energy. My team and I would like to present how to save H2 online. An inexpensive device that lets you know how much time you have spent in the bathroom and also how much electricity you have used up while doing so. Let's see how this is done.
So this is the circuit for our project. We have used NodeMCU, the YSF201 water flow sensor, the DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor, the piezo buzzer, and an LDR. The UID for our project is given here. Hey there, myself Atharva Kharkar. I am going to give you the demo of our project, so let's move to it. So this is the setup of our project. When we turn on the shower, the flow sensor will calculate the volume of the water used. The temperature and humidity sensor will give us the readings of the temperature which is maintained in the room. The LDR will tell us about the light which is present in the room and thus calculate the voltage which is used to lit up the light. After a certain point of time, the buzzer will ring. After a certain amount of water, like 8 or 10 liters of water is used, then the buzzer will start ringing. As you can see here, the data is constantly updating on the serial monitor. As well as the data is updating on the Firebase database.
To the website of ShowerBuddy. So here this is the dashboard of our website. So here you can see the projected energy bill and the projected water bill based on the resources used in the bathroom. We also assign an environmental score based on the resources used. Here's a graphical weekly performance and an environmental impact breakdown over the shower length, the light, the shower heat. And also we can calculate the average shower time of the user. As you can see here, it's 7.1 minutes. And here is a fun fact for the user. Now on to the usage part. Yeah. So here we have the weekly shower usage. As you can see here, the shower, the temperature and the water used. So this for the whole week. And also for light, so similar to the water usage, we have the light usage, the weekly light usage. So thank you. This was our website.
Now, to conclude, if every person in India used this, we would be able to save up to 458 billion gallons of water and hundreds and millions of kilowatts a day. This, coupled with the fact that 1 unit of our system costs less than 400 rupees to make, that's what makes us believe that our project is a great environmental solution for every Indian, not just Indian, but every human on the planet. So, thank you for watching.
Amazing. Next up, we have smart parking solutions for on street and off street parking from SPIT Mumbai. It's a deep learning based algorithm merged with technologies like Raspberry Pi and Pi Camera to real time parking status on a user friendly Android application.
Hello everyone. My name is Kunal Sanghvi and I along with my team members Aditya Shah and Prashil Shah are going to give you a project presentation on smart parking solutions for on-street and off-street parking. So the introduction of our project is that there is increase in number of vehicles and mismanagement of parking spaces. People tend to create congestion, whether it be on-street or off-street, which leads to wastage of time and unnecessary pollution. There is an utmost need to develop a smart parking system which would help an individual to find empty parking slot. Although there is ample of research going on development of smart parking system, but most of them still rely on sensor-based approach. Thus, a prototype of camera-based smart parking system is proposed, which detects live parking slots and notifies it through a user-friendly Android application. So we conducted a survey where we asked various questions to different categories of people like students, teachers, working professionals. So the questions were as follows: that are you happy with the current parking situations on your road? We got around 77 responses and the answer was no, like people were not happy. Similarly, do you regularly find it difficult to find a space to park on your road? The answer was yes, like they find it difficult to find a space. The questions like, do you find vehicles are parked obstructively, unfairly, and or inconsiderably on your road? Answer was yes. How would you rate the current mall parking system? It was a mixed approach here, where around 49.4% stated it as average and 44.2% stated it as good. So it was mixed approach here. When parking, do you experience problem on a regular basis from outside public or business facilities in close proximity to your road? People said yes, as there are many shops near nowadays near to the buildings, so parking issues are majorly present there. Last one is that would you use it if any service is developed which would show you the current free parking spaces available on the road? The answer was yes, with a measure of 87% response. So seeing the survey which we conducted and asking various types of questions to the people, we developed the problem statement of our project as to develop a system that can monitor on-street and off-street parking slots, to develop a system that can monitor any irregularities in parking, and to create a small parking system with a user-friendly Android application. Thus, we achieved this by proving a proof of concept of our project, as you will see in the further slides of our presentation. Now I will hand it over to Aditya Shah, who will explain the system design and algorithm of the project.
So the system design for this particular project, we start with the Pi camera, which is interfaced with a Raspberry Pi 2B Plus. So this Pi camera will take a live video input from the given parking slot, which will then be sent to the Raspberry Pi 2B Plus, on which a deep learning algorithm will be run. This algorithm will actually give us the status of the current parking in that slot, and this status will be updated in the database that we've been using. Once the database is updated, the mobile application can access to the database and give the user the status of the parking of that particular slot. Now I'll be explaining the algorithm of this particular code that we have been using. So after starting the algorithm, we will be taking a live video frame from a camera. This video frame will be given to the deep learning algorithm. So once the deep learning algorithm is run, it will ask, is any car detected? If a car is not detected, it will go back to the second step, wherein a live input will be taken from the camera again. And if a car is detected, uh, we will be moving on to the next question that will say, are the coordinates matched? If the coordinates are not matched, we will go back to taking a live input again. But if the coordinates are matched, we will go on updating the database. And once we update the database, the app can, the mobile application can communicate with the database and get the information of the parking slot availability. Now my friend Prashil will show how this algorithm actually works.
Okay, so moving on to the further slide, this particular slide shows us the video of our entire project demonstration. On playing the video, you can initially see a page where the user has to enter a phone number which is verified by an OTP. On successful verification, the user is directed further to selected any one of the four options, that is the availability, which shows the available slots, the maps, which directs the user to the Google Maps application, the help, which allows the user to report some problem, and about us, which basically speaks about a motivation to do this project. So after clicking the availability option, the user initially sees an empty field, but on clicking the no button, a real-time status of the available parking slots is flashed. Yeah, so as you can see, the number of available slots is 2, which is verified by the laptop screen, and here is the still parking, which shows the number of available slots as 2. Now moving on further, we will park a car into the slot, and a real-time update will be flashed on our laptop screen as well as an application. So here you can see the car is being parked in the stilt parking, and after the car is completely into the stilt parking, the coordinates are generated, which on matching changes the status of the changes the available status as 1 instead of 2. This is verified by the laptop screen, and the similar one is displayed. Similar one status is displayed on the application also. So moving on to the further slide, what are the inference from our results? In this project, we successfully are able to detect the parking status of the stilt parking. The final status of the parking is communicated to the server, which is displayed onto the screen of an Android application. Thus, from the above demonstration, a proof of concept is being depicted. Now, what are the future aspects of our project? Accuracy of the model can be further increased by training it with more number of images and varying parameters of the model. Interface of the Android application can be modified, and Google Maps can be integrated with more number of facilities to help the user to navigate to a parking space. Now, hardware compatibility can also be eradicated by using the pre-installed CCTV camera and server computer. This system can be integrated with the reservation and charging of parking slots for malls and various other independent organizations. So this was our final project demonstration. Thank you.
So next in line, we have Music Catalog Management System from Xavier Institute of Mahim. Music Catalog Management System aims to formally describe the interest towards entertainment.
Hello everyone. Our group UID number is 1119. The topic for our project is Music Catalog Management System. Problem definition. The aim of this project is the development of a sample centralized relational music catalog management application. The core functionality is keeping a record of all the user details which were entered during the sign-up process, to search, upload, download the respective music into the application, user getting a choice to stop, play and change the music. The scope and importance of the project is for entertainment and public use.
Next, we will look at software requirements. We have used NetBeans IDE 12.1. It is very well known as it is easy to use. MySQL Workbench 8.0 was used to store all the music records and information from the user. NetBeans IDE does not have a calendar picker of its own, so I've used JCalendar library. It is used for taking a date of birth from the user in the sign-up page.
ER diagram. Our first entity for the ER diagram is the login and the sign-up page. Once the sign-up page is filled, the user has to log in the application using login ID or password. Moving ahead to the next page of the application, the user will see the playlist, download, create, search option.
Demonstration. So this is the home screen of the app. The user is provided with two options: login and sign up. If the user chooses the sign up option, so if the user does not fill a few of the options, the app will prompt them to fill all, as everything is compulsory. And the password and the confirm password has to be the same. And the password has to have all these criteria in them. That's when it's accepted as a valid password. So in the login page, we have three options to log in: using the username and password, email and password, phone number and password. So I'm using the username password option and signing into an already created account. Prompts a successful message. So this is the home screen of our app. We have a few other tabs to our left, a player on the bottom, and a logout button. So let me go to a create page where I can create a song and submit it. So let me go to the create page, and I can use this create page to submit an song. So once I create a song, I can submit the track. Ask me if I'm sure to submit it. Click on yes. So the song is now there on my playlist. Now I can click on the song and hear them. pause the song, play it, and stop the song. So these are some of the other songs which I already had in my account when I created it.
When your legs don't.
So this is what the playlist tab is, where it contains all the songs which I have uploaded to my app. So the next tab is the search tab. So the search tab contains all the songs which all the other users have uploaded. So this is basically the tab where the whole, user base of the app uploads their songs, and it is totally available for everyone to hear it. So this is a song. When I click on it, it shows the track ID of the song, which is unique to that song, and it has all the info about the song which the user has entered while uploading the song, and this is the username of whoever uploaded it. And I can hear a song from here also. If I really liked a song, I can hit on the download button and it will be added to my downloads right here. So if I really liked a song, I can come here to the download page and hear to it. This is like the offline option in most of the apps. For now, this all is running locally, so this is the only way we can find of making it. And the home page also has a welcome message to whoever the username is being logged in as. Future work. Application runs locally. Commenting the playlists, rating, reviewing the albums are some of the other we are planning to add. Expansion of the project by making it online. Thank you.
Awesome. Next, we have in line application of non-humanoid robots in the field of hospitality. Rasiklal M. Dhariwal Sinhagad School of Engineering. The project is based on the use of table-shaped robots as a server in hotels or hospitals. So let's take a look.
Hi, I am Devavrat Samak. On behalf of all my teammates, I thank St. Francis Institute of Technology for giving us the wonderful opportunity to present our project in the Pragati 2021 competition. Our project name is Application of Non-Humanoid Robot in the Field of Hospitality. So let's start. So here is the introduction. So basically, the coronavirus pandemic has ravaged many industries, and one such industry is hotel industry. There are many guidelines and many restrictions on hotels to work, and thus it is indirectly and directly taking toll on their business. So to make sure that they run, we thought of making a robot which will help them serve customers. And so basically our prototype will serve the food, that is the chef will place the whatever order on the prototype, and the prototype will go to the respective table, and the customers will take it, and the prototype will again come back to the kitchen. So here we are making sure that minimal what we can say, human interaction is minimum in this situation. So our problem statement is develop a non-humanoid robot that will act as a servant in hotels without having human interaction in this situation. So we thought that this will definitely help them achieve profits. So our methodology, this is so basically we are using line sensors and QTR sensors, pi camera object detection. So the prototype will follow the line, and if there is an obstacle, it will wait for some time and will signal through LED. After the removal of hindrance, the prototype will again follow the line towards the desired table, and same will happen when it will come back to the kitchen. So this is the flow chart. This is the simulation diagram. We used MATLAB and Simulink software for the simulation of our prototype. Since our team is distorted, we were not able to make an actual robot, so we simulated the working of our robot in MATLAB. So here is the video. I will start it. Here are the parameters. I have taken a basic diagram or a basic map of line following robot. So it will change dynamically according to the needs of the hotels. The basic velocity of the prototype will be of 5 meter per second, and we are also using PID controller. So as we can see, the dot or the circle represents the robot position and line is its orientation, and we can see that the robot is following the line. We assumed that the start is the doorway of the kitchen, and around the line our tables are placed systematically. I'll carry forward it slowly. That will save our time. So yeah, this is how our project will work, our prototype will work. And then results. So we are using Raspberry Pi 4 of 2 GB RAM as our microprocessor, and line follower sensor QTR 8RC for line following, and a pi camera for object detection. We are using lithium ion 18650 lithium ion battery of 3.7 voltage and 2000 milliampere hours current. Motors used are RS50, which has high torque, and the robot speed will be of 5 meter per second. The charging of the robot will take 50 to 60 minutes, and that will run for approximately 3.5 to 4 hours. And also the maximum load capacity, or we can say the the prototype can carry will be of 10 kg. So that might not be necessary, but yes, it can carry 10 kg of food. So yeah, future scope. we can, so the basic idea is to use artificial intelligence in this project. Uh, we thought of that introduction of machine learning concepts like image recognition, speech recognition can be used. Image recognition can be used to recognize a certain customer who visits a particular hotel more frequently, so that after recognizing him, the robot will the robot will understand or acknowledge that okay, this person uh, orders this particular food whenever he visits our hotel. So the robot can directly place or at least can ask to repeat that order. Speech recognition can be used to take orders from the customers, and reinforcement learning can be used as a substitute for line follower. So yes, this is how we are, thinking of adding future scopes as possible. And yes, this is our project. Thanks a lot for entertaining us. Thank you.
Wow, that was really a thoughtful project by RMTS School of Engineering.
Yeah, indeed it was. So next we present to you simulation of autonomous navigation of UAV by creating a 3D world from Father CRCE, Mumbai.
Hello, I'm Gaurav and I'm doing my undergraduate in Father Agnes Bandra under the domain Information Technology.
Hello, my name is Amit Dubey. I am currently in my third year of production engineering from Father Constantino Rodriguez College of Engineering, Bandra West.
The problem statement. The problem statement for us was to develop an aircraft or drone with autonomous navigation system. It will be a launch and forget kind of system which incorporates stability as well as navigation subsystems that can take control of the glider or the aircraft as per the requirements autonomously. Only the initial and the target location coordinates needs to be input. If the target is in the range of the aerial vehicle, it launches and hits the target or lands on it.
So as you can see, this system diagram for our simulation, it mainly comprises of three primary subsystems. First, the nonlinear 6 degree of freedom aircraft system, which calculates the net force and moment acting on aircraft. Then the navigation subsystem, which decides the path that the aircraft has to follow by giving out an output as control surface movement. And finally, a 3D visualizer of the aircraft, which is of NASA HL20 MATLAB Simulink aircraft simulation. Let's see the subsystem which calculates the 6 degree of freedom in detail. As you can see, it contains two MATLAB functions, one of which individually calculates the forces and moment acting on aircraft and body frame. After this, we use Coriolis rule and integrate the result to find the velocity in x, y, and z direction in the body frame. We even calculate Euler angle and roll pitch yaw or rate by integrating the product of net moment applied and the inertia matrix. We even multiply velocity of aircraft with the directional cosine matrix to get velocity of aircraft in the northeast down frame. This is the navigation subsystem, which again has two MATLAB functions, one which calculates median radius curvature and prime vertical radius of curvature and feeds it into the second MATLAB function, which also has input like velocity of aircraft in northeast downframe and the latitude, longitude, and the altitude to calculate angle of attack, side angles, along with its exact location. Then it decides the course that the aircraft should take and sends output respectively. That is the values for the aileron, rudders, and the elevators. This is just a simple subsystem built to display the characteristics of the aircraft for later review of performance. This subsystem converts the Euler angle to the quaternion for accurate measurement of roll pitch yaw.
Autonomous navigation algorithm. Here is the flowchart of it, and it uses two different systems, which is the inertial reference system and the calibrated Cartesian coordinate system. The calibrated Cartesian coordinate system is basically used to create the 3D world by keeping the target as the origin, and the inertial reference system is the replacement for the GPS. The flowchart basically presents a 3D world in which the target location and the initial location of the aircraft forms one line, and the location of that aircraft after a few seconds forms another line, and by correcting the angle between them, the objective is achieved. Video demonstration. So we have tested the algorithm for 3 different cases, one for the aircraft stability and 2 different navigation cases. So this is the stability test. It has been performed in Simulink. As you can see, the aircraft tries to stabilize itself by compensating with the body forces, the forces that it has been facing, by trying to maneuver itself by controlling the control surfaces as per the requirements. This is the results of the aircraft stability test, and the graph basically represent the yaw, pitch, roll and the angle of attack of the aircraft with respect to time on the x-axis. And as you can see, at the start it was fluctuating way more than expected, but at the end, as the time progresses, the aircraft stabilizes itself. This is the navigation test 1. We have kept the target location towards the left side of the aircraft from its initial position, and the test has been performed successfully. As we can see that the aircraft moves towards the left by yawing as well as by rolling itself to help in the motion. Now you're looking at the navigation test 2. This time the target location is been placed towards the left of the aircraft, but a little nearer, so that it has to pitch down faster, and it does that at the start of it, but due to the wind condition, it moves towards the right, and then as at the end you can see that the aircraft move a lot more toward the left. This is the results of the navigation test 2. As you can see, at the start of it, things were pretty calm as the aircraft was moving towards the target zone, but at a certain point, when the aircraft tends to deflect away from the target zone, the control surface come into act and tries to move the aircraft towards the target zone, and hence you can see the fluctuation as it is.
For the future prospects, our aerial vehicle's fuselage can be filled with a payload to deploy at the target, since it has no propulsion, therefore has extra payload capacity. Second, the system can be used to auto-navigate different types of aerial vehicle to the target zone. Only thing that has to be done is install our software. It can even be integrated with various sensors and software and use methods such as artificial intelligence to increase its productivity. Like one of the example is in a high-tech surveillance drone. We can even add a propulsion system for increasing the flight time of the UAV.
Okay, so now we have novel soft start, improved efficiency, single phase induction blower motor drive from Wainganga College of Engineering, Nagpur. In this project, instead of phase angle control, we control the speed of AC motors with high frequency PWM control, or with the help of high frequency AC chopper control.
Hello sir, good evening. My name is Yasmini Lanje, student of BE 4th year in electrical branch, Wainganga College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur, and my team members are Vanashri Chandewar, Ashwini Tekale and Vijaya Share. We are classmates. Our project title is Novel Soft Start, Improved Efficiency, Single Phase Induction Blower Motor Drive. This project presents a simple novel soft start and speed control of single phase fan regulator with higher power factor. The speciality of this project is that we obtain variable and high power factor at all speeds from low to high. Problem statement. The purpose of this project is to improve the efficiency, power factor and overall performance of the fans. Then, overview of project. For increasing input power factor and efficiency, we use pulse width modulation control instead of phase angle control. Because of high power factor and efficiency, stator current is low and stator copper losses also less. Result is, for any speed that is low or high, we got same higher power factor, that is 0.98 to 0.99, and it save electricity. Let's see the circuit diagram. we have to use 20 kHz switching frequency. So the first IC 555 timer generates the 20 kHz triangular wave, and IC 324 is the pulse width modulation generator, and second IC 555 timer is the gate driver for MOSFET in main circuit. This is the waveform of our technique, that is pulse width modulation technique. Given graph shows the curves between speed and power factor. For increasing or decreasing the speed, power factor remains high. Tabular form proves that our new technique of speed control has high efficiency and will save 12% to 15% of electricity. Scope of this project is saving of electric bill of fans by efficiency and unity power factor without additional capacitor by reducing fan copper losses.
My name is Ashwini Tekale and my project title name is Novel Soft Start Improved Efficiency Single Phase Induction Blower Motor Drive, and my project UID number is 1130. This is my circuit I explain. Here is one transformer, step down transformer. It converts from 230 volt to 9 volt, and this is a power diode which convert AC to DC, and two capacitors are connected here to remove the ripples from the AC, and here it connected three ICs are connected here. One IC's rating is 3 to 4 and two ICs rating is here 555 timer. From one IC 3 to 4 we get PWM pulse and from 555 IC timer we get a triangular wave. Here also it connected 555 timer, but it's acting as a driver for IGBTs. And here this is a pot. As we increase the speed of the width, it increases the speed of the fan also. And where its power factor is remain constant. And from next step, as again we increase the speed of the pulse, it increase the speed of the fan, where second time also it remains constant of the power factor 0.99 near to unity. Whereas at third step we also increase the speed of the width. It increase the speed of the fan, and where power factor also is constant. Again we increase the width of the pulse. It also increase the fan. It also increase the speed of the fan. As it increases the speed, it remains constant at power factor 0.99 near to unity. In Laxop city, the more fan are used, where it improves the efficiency and saving electricity.
Versatile, innovative, creative, honest, ambitious, and responsible. Vaibhavi, aren't these the qualities a true entrepreneur must possess?
Of course, Rulmine.
Yes, these are the qualities that are needed as the catalyst to make their idea existent in this world. Next, we present to you which are the very word formed if you connect the starting letter of each of the qualities mentioned before, and also because it only takes one idea to make a difference.
So 5 qualities, I think patience. Second, you should be a people's person. You should know how to network. Fourth, you should know how to manage operations in terms of how your business cycle goes. You should know how the cycle is, and you should be able to handle it properly. You may have managers, but you still should be able to take care of any single part of your business. And fifth is managing finance. So you either have to manage finance or you have to raise finance. So either of them are very critical. Mistakes could be of various nature. It could be choosing a bad team or a team member. It could be trying to raise finance at the wrong time. It could be trying to raise it early, trying to raise it late, trying to raise it at the right time but a wrong valuation. It could be mismanaging your vendors. I believe that the vendor management is the most important thing, and then customer management comes next. Your problems could also be mismanagement of finance in your company. If you're not really managing your finances correctly, your business is always going to not have money in the account. So on and so forth. There are so many issues, but these are the top problems that an entrepreneur should avoid or should work on. And there's also one important thing is not having a mentor on board early in the days. So I think you should have a mentor onboarded on your company's board or on your advisory board as soon as possible. My favorite is Steve Jobs, also Elon Musk, but Steve Jobs more because he's dared to do things in a very different way from many years before in technology, which has really changed the whole world, the way they have access to each other through their phones. To advertise your business, the most important thing is to have an organic reach. So I can give you a little example. When we launched a thermal scanner in Pan India during COVID time, it went really success and it went viral without spending a single rupee. And the way I was able to manage it is only making a WhatsApp blast in my network. So actually having a good network really works out well, and keeping in touch with them all throughout. So if you want to know smart marketing, it's any marketing that helps you spend less but gets you more reach is the smartest marketing, and your network and organic marketing through your network is the most important marketing. You use your clients to recommend more your brand to more clients. And of course, I mean, the most known or the most common way of marketing is through Google ads and Facebook ads. So those are always there. What's really important is hard work. So without hard work, really luck is pointless. So I believe luck is not that important, but hard work is the most. Hard work and perseverance are the most important things that an entrepreneur should possess or should deliver. Start early, and it's going to be a journey that you will be very lonely if you don't get a partner. So please start early and start with a partner.
I'm pretty sure that this video was informative and thoughtful for all the viewers out there.
Okay guys, so let's continue. Next up we have Vehicle Safety System and Emergency Telematics from St. Francis Institute of Technology.
Warm greetings, member of the panel, jury, judges, teachers, and my dear friends. This is Vraj Parekh here from St. Francis Institute of Technology, 3rd year EXTC. This is a presentation for our Pragati project, Vehicle Safety System and Emergency Telematics. This project is based upon telematic systems and the Internet of Things. This brings to one of the question that why is there need for such kind of project? It is actually a vast question, to be honest, but one of the key reason for this project is quick response in the scenario of emergency on highways especially. Looking at the current market scenario, road accidents in India kill more people than in any other country. This data is taken from the Esteemed Times of India. I know that India is not among the worst countries in terms of the death, but looking at the figure is quite mind-numbing that we lose so many people just because of road accidents. This project caters a wide range of target audience, right from the software as a service operators like Ola, Uber, public domain like the BST or the ST buses, the internet providers, the logistics sectors like the companies which fall in the logistics like the DHL, VRL, etc. Also, one of the most important is the emergency services on the express highways, national highways, and the state highways. This project can be also used as the fleet operating for fleet operations. Thanks to the advancements in technologies like IoT and 4G, we may now have a potential solution to the problem. The solution lies in telematics. Telematics is nothing but the communication method of vehicles between the ECU or the electronic control unit and the real world. The built-in sensors of the vehicle transfer the data to the ECU. The ECU integrates the data from various sensors and sends it to an IoT gateway. Using telematics, we can have vehicle to vehicle communication, vehicle to a base station communication, as well as a vehicle to quick response team communication. Not only this, we can get the analytics as well as the health of the vehicle so that we can know the vehicle status or the vehicle health before having a long trip. Field of application of telematics. So these are the fields where telematics can be applied. The whole point of this project is that in case of emergency, the vehicle can itself send the emergency signals or an SOS message to the highway control room, to the authorized roadside assistance, to healthcare services like fire brigade, ambulance, as well as the nearby blood bank. Now, in India, the RFID based FASTag is mandatory. So the idea is that we can send the data of a vehicle entering the highway. Let's for example the Ahmedabad Vadodara Expressway. From FASTag, we can send the data like vehicle registration number, the model, and the mobile number of the registered person to a dedicated control-based station. We need to set up few connected healthcare services like ambulance, fire brigade, blood banks at certain peripheral points of the highway, hence to provide quick response with the emergency. God forbid, if there is an accident, we can have a quick response with these details like the name, the car number, and the location where the accident has happened. From this illustration, you can get a brief overview. The vehicle enters the highway. The data from the RFID FASTag is collected and transferred to the highway control room. The highway control room is connected to the internet at all times. From there, the data is sent to an ambulance. If the data from a car is received regarding an accident, it is sent to an ambulance, and so that we can have a quick response. The main aim for this system is to make an affordable connected car system for the masses. Currently, these features are available only in high-end cars. We are trying to make a plug-and-play system with integrated sensors like the GPS and the eSIM so the user can directly fit the system into the OBD2 port of the car. The OBD2 port is available in each and every car since it has been mandatory since 2008. Using the OBD and CAN, that is the CAN protocol, the user can get the diagnosis of the car on the phone as well. Also, we can try to deploy the system in the commercial autos as well as two-wheelers. So the company, the parent company can have a track on each and every vehicle as well. This is it from Team Prodhyam. Thank you so much.
So next in line, we have a motion-based smart device for differently abled people from KJ Somaiya. This project is IoT based and is very useful for disabled people. It will also be a source of communication between the doctors, nurses and their patients.
Hello everyone, my name is Tushar Sanjay Rao. Our project name is Motion Based Smart Device for Differently Able People. We are 4 group members. Their name is Raj Ghadi, Angad Gaikar and Saurabh Kadam. We are guided thus by Dr. Midden Nimade sir. We are choose this project because of their differently able people cannot talk because of they are paralyzed from upper body. So they can use we can use our project as a helpful for their convenient to speak. They can move our hands and tell their emotions on this display on the LCD display.
We make this project mainly for the patient or the people who are affected by corona or who are in the quarantine, and our project is also very useful for the doctors and nurses also. By taking help of our project, doctor and nurses can easily monitor the health condition of the patient. Also the patient can directly send the message to the doctors or the nurses or ward boy or also the person's relatives, yeah, its family. And also the data of the patient, which is continuously recorded by the help of the cloud. Hence the doctor get all the records of the patient. uh, hence our project is very useful for such corona pandemic situation. When any patient in the hospital using this device, then somewhat where they minimize the direct contact by the patient and take care of the patient without touching it. Also the main thing that is that the doctor can save their valuable time of continuously checking the patient temperature, blood pressure, etc. Hence this project is very useful.
Methodology and working of the project. Our whole project is divided into 2 parts. First one is the transmitter end and second one is the receiver end. At the transmitter end, we have used some sensors as an input, like a BPM sensor which measures blood pressure, temperature sensor which helps to measure temperature, and accelerometer. These all the sensors we send analog input data to the microcontroller. Microcontroller send the required data to the receiver end through the NRF module and WiFi module. And receiver end, we have used NRF module to receive all the data and send it to the microcontroller Arduino, and Arduino helps to display send all the required data to the LCD. LCD act as an output device which gives all the required output. And this is our block diagram of transmitter and receiver.
Now we see the working of this device. There are 2 parts. One is a transmitter, which we will wear on a hand like a smartwatch or watches, and another one is a receiver, which show the data and messages. After wearing this on hand, just by moving hands in different angle, this will send different messages. We can customize these messages and motion according to the patient comfort. Also, this is auto calibrated, so every time person wear this will calibrate automatically and adjust the angle. If there is no action taken from authority to the patient message, then this will give continuous alert. If there is no action taken, then this will also called family of the person to take action. It also has a temperature sensor and BPM sensors which monitor the patient health continuously. This will take the data and upload it into the cloud. We use ThinkSpeak Cloud, so doctor can monitor patient from anywhere. Also, this will show this data on the screen also. This, if all is okay, then this will show health is okay. If not, then this will show health is not okay. We don't put direct value on this display because a care person maybe not know the best condition for the patient. So this will decided by doctor to at which condition patient has a good health and bad health.
So the result of the project is, this project is a very useful in a COVID-19 situation, and this project is a very useful for disabled and paralyzed people. The specialty of the project is a very easy to use and giving us a real-time data, real-time information about patient, so that we can store the whole data in cloud, and doctors can monitor it easily from the anywhere in the world. And it project is a help to communicate patients with nose scope of the project, so we can decrease the size of the project and make it is the size of a digital and smartwatch, and we can increase and extend the range of a communication distance. And instead of a desktop cloud, we can create our Android apps.
So now we have something which is need of an hour, that is CoWarrior. Sanitization and alert system yet again from SFIT, an automatic sanitizer dispensing system, contactless temperature measuring and alert system, which measures the temperature via infrared sensor and sends an alert via buzzer and blink.
Hello everyone, today we are here to present you with our project CoWarrior, Sanitization and Alert System. This project is done by Ketki Keluskar and myself Stancy Nadar. As we all are aware about the current pandemic situation going on in the world, many people's life has been affected for better or for worse. The number of cases are 112 million and rising every day. As this coronavirus is easily transmittable, when an infected person coughs or sneezes, the droplets is transmitted through the air to a non-infected person, and the non-infected person also gets infected. The symptoms are similar to common cold or cough. Although the accurate detection of COVID-19 is not possible, without a swab test, a potential patient can be identified with the help of our project. As it is said that prevention is better than cure, our project will help in a certain way to prevent this coronavirus being spread. The problem statement of our project is to develop an IoT-based sanitization and alert system using Arduino Uno R3, infrared temperature sensor, a buzzer, OLED display, Wi-Fi module, ThinkSpeak Blink, GSM module, ultrasonic sensors for sensing sanitization levels and human presence. Our project is divided into two modules. The first module is based on the temperature sensor and Blink app. The first module for project consists of an infrared sensor, MLX90614, which can accurately sense temperature up to 5 cm away from the sensor. The ultrasonic distance sensor senses the presence of an individual and activates the sensor. LEDs are used to show the current state of the system. OLED display is used for displaying the temperature, and piezo buzzer for sounding an alarm whenever the temperature is greater than 37 degrees Celsius is encountered. Node MCU ESP8266 is used to connect to the internet for sending temperature values sensed to the ThinkSpeak and Blink app. The second module of our project is based on sanitization part. Here we have used two ultrasonic sensors, one servo motor, Arduino Uno R3, GSM SIM 800L module, and a mobile phone. In this, the first module, the first ultrasonic sensor, is used for sensing the hand, and when the hand is sensed through the servo motor, the sanitizer is pumped out. The second ultrasonic sensor is used for calculating the percentage of sanitizer left in the bottle. The GSM module is used for sending the messages regarding how much percentage of sanitizer is left in the bottle. So this was the project system description of both the modules, the first and the second. Now let us see the demo of our project.
This is the ESP8266 node MCU module. These are LEDs describing the current state of the system. Piezo buzzer for sounding an alarm whenever 37 degrees Celsius temperature is passed. OLED display to display the current distance at which the person is standing. Right now, since there is no person, there is no obstruction being detected by the distance sensor. The OLED displays come closer, and since there is no obstruction detected by the ultrasonic distance sensor, the MLX9061 IR temperature sensor is not sensing any kind of temperature. This sensor is capable of continuously sensing temperatures for a number of times. And so as to make use of this feature efficiently, we have constructed this system in such a way that if and only if the ultrasonic distance sensor senses any kind of obstruction, only then the IR temperature sensor is activated. If I keep my hand like this, covering both the sensors, the temperature of the palm will be displayed onto the OLED display, and at the same time ThinkSpeak will also reflect the same changes. I'm just going to generate some random values so as to show the ThinkSpeak functionality. Due to network issues, the ThinkSpeak transmission takes a little bit more amount of time than usual, and all these values are then fetched by Blink. Now, so as to show the core functionality of our system, I'm just going to heat up a kitchen utensil, and then I'm going to place it in such a way that it covers both the sensors. Now, as I couldn't get the temperatures more than 37 degrees Celsius to show the exact functionality of the system, I'm just heating up a kitchen utensil, and I'll place it in such a way that it covers both the sensors, and the temperature that is being currently detected is displayed on the OLED display, and at the same time, in real time, Blink is also sending me push notifications saying alert, high temperature detected. Now, once these push notifications are sent, and at the same time even email notifications are sent. Now, these email notifications can be configured in such a way that they are sent to appropriate authorities to make sure that this potential COVID-19 patient does not cause any more casualties.
This is the second part of a project which depends on the sanitization part. So in this, as soon as we switch on the system, we receive an SMS in our mobile saying that the system is ready to send and receive message commands. So then we have used ultrasonic sensor which senses the obstacle as a hand when we place below the nozzle and it opens. The sanitizer is poured out for a few seconds, then it closes, which is the opening and the closing is controlled by the servo motor. SIM 800 GSM module SIM 800L we have used for sending and receiving messages. The second ultrasonic sensor is used for calculating the percentage of sanitizer level left in the bottle. So as soon as we send a command to the GSM module stating status, which is given as shown in the screen, so it replies by stating that the sanitizer level is so and so. So in this case, the sanitizer level is shown as 64%. So this is the whole system which comprises of the temperature sensor as well as the sanitization part.
As our contribution to the healthcare sector, we have successfully developed a system which is contactless and requires minimal to no human intervention when it comes to sanitizer dispenser and getting the temperatures of the individual.
These are the blink app notifications that are sent whenever 37 degrees threshold is passed. This is the GSM module output. This is used by the system admin to know the current level of the sanitizer in the bottle. And as a future scope to our system, we have mentioned the usage of a DCI sensor along with MLX 90614 IR temperature sensor, which is used for providing higher efficiency and can record temperatures up to 50 centimeters away from the sensor. And the system can also be integrated with a door locking system, which can ensure that the person who enters the public place has checked their temperature, has sanitized their hands, and will make sure that the people around him are safe and secure. Thank you. Around him are safe and secure. Thank you.
Okay guys, so before we move ahead, for all those viewers who have joined us now, you all can check the projects on Pragati Virtual Exhibition by clicking on the link given in the description box.
So moving on, now we have home automation from SFIT Mumbai. Here we can open or close the door and even switch on or off the lights using just our phones.
Hey guys, this is Om Kiran standing in behalf of my team for the Pragati event. UID 1008 is gonna showcase our project, which is home automation system made by me and my group members Pritesh Pandit, Pratik Ghosh and Srirang Joshi. So our project is classified into three types. First is the home automation system itself, where we can turn on the fan, light up the LEDs without any physical contact just by the mobile phone. The app we used is MIT and the code we used is Arduino. The second feature is the home security system or the automatic security system. Here if anyone moves across the door, then the light will glow, and if anyone stands upon the mat which is placed just outside the door, then the buzzer will beep. The third classification is the automatic sanitizer. If I put my hand in front of the sensor, then the sanitizer will pump through the pipe and it will fall upon our hand so that we can sanitize it without any physical contact. So I would like Pratik Ghosh to explain the Arduino code that he used and also the MIT app. So Pratik.
So I have written the Arduino code for the home automation project. So first of all, I have declared the motor pin as well as the LED pins and also servo motor, and also I also declared the software serial.h, which is the header file, to activate the Bluetooth AC05 module. And in this paragraph we have activated the motor pin as well as LED pin and also servo motor, and also we also activate the AC05 Bluetooth module for communication. So in this paragraph, if we turn on the LED button as mentioned in the app that we'll be discussing later, the LED will glow high, that means it will glow. And if we turn off the LED button, then the LED will not glow. It is similar for all the devices such as fan as well as door, that means the servo motor. Now I would like to discuss about the app that I have created for this project. This is the MIT app that I have created. This is the app. So as you can see here, I have buttons are there. One is the on buttons are there for all the electronic appliances, LED, fan and motor. Similarly for off, the button I have made for all the electronic appliances, which is red color. On one is the green color. So what you have to do, first you have to add the button as I had mentioned here, and you have to just click it here. So there will be a button present at the screen, and you could also change the color of the button mentioned here as well as the text color we could also change. Now this is the app layout. So and now to run this app, I also created the code. In this code, as you can see that we need to connect the Bluetooth AC05 module by this code, and also we have to send the interface. That means we need to send the on and off status to the Arduino code. For this I have written this code here for fan as well as for door and as well as for LED.
Now explaining how to connect the MIT App Inventor from monitor to phone. So first scan the barcode or write the code written on the monitor. Then click connect with code. So it's loading. Now the screen has appeared, so click on text for list, pick a one. Now you can see 98D3, that's our Bluetooth module name, so connect with that. So now it's connected.
So now I would like to demonstrate the principle and the construction of the home automation. Moving upon the construction of the home automation system, I would classify the first part, which is the automatic security system. Here you can see the IR sensor, the buzzer, and here is the power supply, and here is the button embedded within the mat. If you press on this button, then the light will glow, and if any object or anyone stands upon the mat, it will come exposed to the IR sensor and it will start to beep, as you can hear. Moving upon the second classification, that is the home automation system, you can see that the breadboard, the Arduino board and the motor driver is connected to the power bank, which gives them electric supply. And the Bluetooth module, which is beeping, is connected to the phone, by which we can control all the electrical appliances. First, we have connected this door to the servo motor. Here the flap we have cut into half so that it moves only 90 degree instead of 180 degree. So Pratik, can you please turn on the door? And can you close the door? So you can see its operation. And now here you can see the LED, where we have connected 5 LED of 3 volts whose wires are connected behind the cardboard. So Pratik, turn on the LED. Yeah, and now turn off the LED. So you can see here is the table fan, which is connected by a 3 volt DC motor. So Pratik, can you turn on the fan 1? And now turn on the fan 2. So you can see their operations. So now turn off both the fans. Here is our automatic sanitizer. Here's the switch which is on, due to which the IR sensor glowed. Here's the power supply, and here's the pipe through which the sanitizer will pump, where the sanitizer is kept in the container. If I bring my hand near the sensor, then the sanitizer will flow. So you can see I can easily sanitize my hand without any physical touch. So now discussing upon the application and the future scope, first let's jump upon the security system. It can be used as a household doorbell system. The second use is that it will keep all the robbers away, such that if we increase the sound of the buzzer or the beeper, the neighborhood will come into attention. And the third use is that it can be used in restricted area, such that the button will be placed numerously. If anyone tries to cross that restricted area, then the beeper will sound and everyone will come into notice. Now moving on home automation system. If anyone forgets to turn off any appliances but he moves out of the door, so he doesn't need to open the door again and for the switch and turn it off. He can operate it by the phone. The second use is it can be used by those people who work from home or who is really tired to move around the house. And the target audience is the senior citizen or the ones who are physically disabled for temporary or permanent type who have problem in traveling. Now jumping upon the home sanitizer, which is automatic, we have designed it because in the recent pandemic we should not make much physical contact with anyone due to corona or any other virus. So we can use this in front of any entry like household or mall or society or etc. We should also use this in front of hospital because we may not know that the person we are talking to or we are having physical contact with is infectious with disease or not. Thank you.
Okay, so next up we have efficient power generation to automate street lights based on traffic density from Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Technology all the way from Coimbatore.
Our project title is Efficient Power Generation to Automate Streetlights Based on Traffic Density. Do you know that we have over 27 million streetlights in India and they consume up to 30 to 40% of the total electricity generated in our country? Therefore, There is a need for the development of an IoT based efficient power generation using renewable resources to automate the process of street lighting according to traffic density. The project aims at developing an IoT based street illuminator that uses various sensors to detect the presence of a vehicle or human activity. Our main objective is to minimize energy consumption by making the street lights glow at maximum brightness only when it detects presence. During other times, the street light will remain in off condition. This base model also has the potential to be applied in many areas like gas detectors, water analysis, anesthesiology testing, etc. This is the prototype of our model. Let us discuss the components. We have used the solar panel to convert solar energy into electrical energy. This will be stored in a rechargeable battery through the charge controller connected in between. The charge from the battery is given to the node MCU. Here, we have used an LDR to automatically switch on and off the LEDs and an IR sensor to detect the presence of vehicles or other movements. Our model requires two analog inputs. Since the node MCU has only a single analog input pin, we have also used a 16-pin analog multiplexer. Now, let us see how our model works. As you can see, when an object enters the span of the IR sensor, it passes information to the LDR, which in turn turns on the LED lights. The lights automatically turn off on the absence of objects. The process gets repeated every time an object or presence is detected. Our model also senses daylight and keeps the LEDs in off mode throughout the day. Now we are turning on the ambient light. You can see that the LED remains in off condition even though the IR sensor detects presence. Now, when we turn off the ambient light, the LED senses it as night time and turns on the LED when it detects presence. Thus, this will be a great way to save energy. The functioning of the street lights can be monitored through a real-time database as shown here. You can also monitor the system from anywhere through a mobile app. The real-time database also enables you to track the battery percentage and performance. Most importantly, with this model, you can also keep track of how much energy is consumed over a week. Furthermore, you can also calculate and monitor the number of vehicles approximately crossed over a period of time. All this can be done with the help of a mobile app.
And now, presenting to you the last and final project of this day as well as Pragati 2021. We have a multi-purpose drone, a UAV, from St. Francis Institute of Technology, Mumbai.
The drone we built was totally based on an IoT concept. But why did we build this drone in the pandemic situation?
So, as per the current COVID situation, it is difficult for us to move out of the house to buy essentials if we reside in pandemic prone zone. And moreover, it is also affecting the health workers. So, to overcome this situation, this problem, our group has proposed to make a drone which can be used to deliver essentials and also medicines to the COVID positive patients, maintaining social distancing, which will help us to reduce the exposure towards the virus.
Now, these are not only the features of the drone. it was also built on the concept of safety for the user.
As explained, we are planning to make IoT-based drone for delivering essentials and to maintain social distancing. In this proposal, Arduino Uno, PIR sensor and ultrasonic sensors are used.
We have used two ultrasonic sensors front and back because if an external object comes close to the drone, it will stop automatically. There's also a PIR sensor included in it, which is known as a motion sensor on the drone for battery purpose. If the drone has landed somewhere safely and does not need to move, it will switch off the battery automatically. Now, how does a robotic arm function? It was made using 6 servo motors, 3 MG90S metallic gears and 3 SG90 micro servo. It was controlled using Arduino Uno, and for connection we used a Bluetooth module with wires. The app was created using MIT App Inventor. We have also installed a live footage camera, Foxer, which gives at a 5 megapixel image quality. There are 2 cameras on it. If a person wants to perform aerial photography, there's a 3-axis gimbal where you can attach an action camera to it. The gimbal is provided here so there's less amount of turbulence. The gimbal can be rotated with the help of the transmitter. And the second camera is a live footage camera, Foxer, where the frequency and calibrated signal gets notified on the VTX, due to which a video output is displayed over here on the ground. The range is also pretty good. Speaking upon the ultrasonic, you can hear a beep noise when it comes to collide towards a wall. The noise comes on the transmitter, plus I can even view it on the display of the live footage. So, how does a person communicate with the drone? For making the flow of conversation more fluently to understand, we have installed a Raspberry Pi 4 BI model, 8 gigs of RAM. It has a 3.5-inch touch display, where the data can be stored on the Raspberry Pi like a small PC. It has a SD card slot. It has also a wireless keyboard and a wireless mouse USB slot for it. Plus, there's also inbuilt Wi-Fi in it. Now, how does a Raspberry Pi come in handy for the drone? It can be used for RTO, for traffic purpose, and also business sectors for delivery from one place to another, where we have made an app for it. The app will be installed on the Raspberry Pi. For example, if the user wants to interface or verify the drone has reached to the right destination, it will give out an form or a bill for the user on the Raspberry Pi screen. The user can sign in the details, and also the data is stored in the Pi itself. Same goes with hospitals and government sectors. Transfer of blood banks from one place to another. The police can also use this drone for live footage surveillance in curfew situations. As well, the display can give out strict messages when the traffic police is using it, like displaying an attention or warning signal. It can even capture the license plate number if someone breaks the traffic law. Now, depending upon the use of the individual, as a drone comes with a lot of features, the user can decide the need by logging on the site to see different types of variants. Where, speaking about the range, the drone can travel from 5 to 10 kilometers. Where the drone comes with a tons of LiPo battery, where each casing has a different amount of voltage. For the gimbal, it's around 12 volts. The live footage has 8 volts. The robotic arms has 5 volts. The supply given to the Raspberry Pi has 2000 mAh Type-C charging cable.
So with this, we have finally seen all the amazing projects. I must say, the judges and the audience will be surely impressed and encouraged by these innovations.
Not only them, Runmai, but I am sure the whole nation will be proud of you guys. And somewhere in heaven, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam as well. Because we have proved that we are giving our best to live his dream, his vision of India 2020. 2020 went unexpected, but we didn't lose hope.
We didn't put a pause button on our ideas, hard work and smart work. We, the youth of India, are the fuel and we are on fire.
So guys, let's meet tomorrow with the same excitement for the final showdown. That is the inaugural ceremony. On behalf of ESLSFIT, we would like to invite you for the ceremony which will be streamed here on YouTube itself.
By the way, I can't wait to know the glorious champions of Pragati 2021.
रुको जरा, सबर करो. Meet us again on YouTube on 27th for the winner reveal. Till then, good night, Shubh Ratri and Shabba Khair. Oh, I forgot to tell those 3 magical words. Like, share and subscribe
to SFIT eCell.